Hello. I wanted to come on today and record a little bit of inspiration that I've had. It is late October where I am in Oregon, and everything is absolutely beautiful. I have a very special oak tree that I go to visit as much as I can, almost every day. And on the path to this tree, I come to a crossroads in a forest. And yesterday, it was spectacular. The light was filtering through the golden leaves, the last of the October leaves. And it was a moment where I actually saw like sunbeams streaming through and lighting the path before me. It was so beautiful and it very much inspired me. So I thought I'd record a few of the thoughts that I had because I think they're really special. So, so it got me to thinking about stars and the light of stars. And we all know that starlight takes immeasurable amount, well, measurable, but unbelievable amounts of time to reach us. Some stars, it's millions of years. But it's so fortunate because we have our own star very, very near to us. And that is, of course, the sun. So it got me to thinking a lot about sunlight and the journey from the sun to us. So I've always felt that once you realize that everything is consciousness, the world shifts forever. It changes everything in your life and it changes yourself. Now, if you believe that everything is consciousness, then certainly the sun is conscious. And when that happens, you begin to realize that the light that comes from the sun is consciousness as well. And this is where the world blooms. It is a wonderful consciousness to be in when you are surrounded by photons of awareness. And I believe it is the awareness of the divine. So light from the sun is photonic light. And so it actually takes about 8 minutes and 20 seconds for the light to leave the surface of the sun and travel to you and where you are. And this 8 minutes and 20 seconds is when we are closest to the sun. And this happens in January. Our planet travels around the sun in an elliptic path. And so we are sometimes near and sometimes far from the sun. Now, this is a huge topic for me, and it means very much to me about our position of where we are to our star. And this will certainly be the topic of a future video because I've had a lot of insights about this. But when we're closest to the sun, photons take 8 minutes and 20 seconds to reach us. Now, this happens in January. So we are on the path towards this moment where it's the fastest journey of light from sun to you. When we're furthest from the sun, I think it takes about 8 minutes and 45 seconds. So that happens in July, and that really speaks to how important our position to the sun is. I mean, if we're talking about light years and we're talking about 25 seconds in light years, that's amazing. And it really is an important aspect to light where we are. So seconds really matter. so the photons of light were actually born within the sun thousands and thousands of years ago. So even though it is a very quick path between our star and your eyes, those photons are very, very ancient beyond reckoning almost. So yes, this is beautiful because when we connect with starlight, it is a journey of eons of time beyond our human lifetime of comprehension. But the journey from sun to us is almost instant when you're talking about the pathways of light. So, the light of the moon, actually, obviously, it is reflected sunlight with a little bit of earth shine in it. I need to say, because I think that's beautiful, that there's a little bit of us reflected back to us. But it only takes a second and a half for light to travel from the moon to us. Now, it is of course photonic light from the sun that we see in the moon. So it did take 8 minutes and some seconds to travel sun to moon and then to us. So I think that the connection with the sun, I really do feel, is the being connected with the present moment. It is being in the now. So I feel like in an astrological chart, that connection with your solar placement is indeed where you connect with the moment. So I so this is where I have some inspiration and an offering of a beautiful meditation for you. So I think that it is well to find a place to be in the sun. Now, be in the physical sun. I suppose in some way you could do this indoors, but the magic is really going to happen when you are in the sunshine, because the actual photons will be touching you. So feel the sun shining on your face. Feel the warmth. Even though the warmth in the northern hemisphere is starting to fade a bit, you will still feel the warmth and the love of the light on your face. Take a few breaths and find your heart's core. It's really important to find your heart. Now, when you do, this is the moment to pray, to wish, to bless, or to ask a question. And I think if you can really feel that in that moment, then the space between begins. So feel that, and in the moment that you feel your desire, it will take, in this time where we're at, approaching the nearest placement to the sun, it'll take about a minute and a half, maybe a tiny bit longer, for the photons that shimmered on the surface of the sun to reach your face. So take a breath, feel what you need to feel, and then lose yourself in the warmth of the light. And just breathe and feel the sparkle of the sun on the other side of your eyelids. I suppose you could sun gaze, but I would recommend closing your eyes and listen for the sound of the birds. Maybe the rustlings of animals in the leaves and brushes. Listen for the sound of an approaching breeze. That's a beautiful thing to do when you can hear a wind coming. When you feel it, that's another space between. But just be there in your heartbeat for 8.5 minutes. And let this be a time of contemplation and devotion. Now, the light that will arrive to shine on your face, in your heart, the light that will kiss you with the love of the divine, and let it illuminate your brow. This makes me think about the great Welsh bard Taliesin, who was said to, well, his name means shining brow, and he bore a shining brow. Maybe he did some meditations like this, and that was why he was so radiant. So 8.5 minutes. Let your prayer be said for that amount of time, and then know in 8.5 minutes that moment that you said your prayer or asked your blessing, it is taken 8.5 minutes from that moment for the sun to release a photon to travel all the way in between the light of the one to you. And I really feel like this is a very special moment. Now, I actually think that in this case, it might be good to have a timer to time out the seconds and the minutes because I think you could use your breath to do this. Now, it is said that 8 to 10 breaths per minute is really promotes health and peace and longevity, and so that's like a 4 second in breath and a 4 second out breath. Um, this breathing practice would be beautiful to do while you are doing this. Just breathe naturally, but try to make them slow and really efficient. So for about 8.5 minutes, it would be about 75 breaths. So maybe if you're very good at meditation and breathing, you could rely on your breath to tell you how long it's been since your prayer was said for the light to travel to you. But I think if you're not an expert meditator, it would be good to have a timer because just lose yourself in the moment. Don't be in your head counting your breaths. Just don't be in your head counting seconds. Don't be in your head at all. Be in your heart. So, so yes, a timer would give you a little ding to let you know when the light has reached you from the sun. So I can't say what will happen immediately after that journey of light from the sun to you, but I do think something will happen. It may take a little time. It may have to settle in. I can promise you, though, after 8.5 minutes of communion with the sun, you will feel glorious. Okay, so here we are in the end of October and approaching the time where we'll be closest to the sun. And so I wish you the most beautiful um, autumn light because it is such special golden light that we have. And um, I, uh, I wish you moments of peace and illumination. Okay, thank you.